Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the last video. Yesterday, a math problem solved my sanity. I wrote about it in my diary. So I've been feeling a bit down on myself the last few days, and I kind of needed a win. So my girlfriend Linda told me she had this math problem that she was struggling with for like the last 2 hours or so. And the whole concept of the math problem was figuring out who owes what within this money pool that people put together for somebody's birthday. So I saw that as a challenge. I thought to myself, I was pretty good at math back in high school. I took calculus 2 in high school, or what is it, A, B, and BC calc is what we had.
What's calculus?
So either way, I was pretty good at math back in the day. So I took this as a challenge for myself. And I wanted to know if I could solve it. I wanted to know if I had the ability on my own, with no calculator, no ChatGPT, no Gemini, no AI, no nothing, just me, myself, a pen, and a piece of paper, if I could figure this thing out. But within like a minute of trying to solve this thing, my mind started to just glaze over and just come up with a bunch of excuses as to why I don't even need to be doing this in the first place. And putting all the numbers together and seeing how everything interacted, I was like, this is probably going to be way more effort than I needed it to be. Like, why am I putting in any effort into this? What does it matter? And with that in my mind, I was like ready to quit. I was ready to be like, all right, you know what? She already figured it out. She already has the answer. Why? I don't even need to do this. It was literally only just for the fact of like, in that immediate moment, my ego went up and it went, I'm good at math. I could probably do that without AI. Let me see if I can do that. But then again, immediately, like within a minute, it became slightly too hard. I had to think a little bit, and my mind was like, you know what? Never mind. It's not worth it. And then also, I just started thinking, can I even do this? Is it even possible to do this? If she was struggling for so long with an AI, explaining it all the ins and outs of how this whole process was structured and how like the problem needed to be solved and who owed who what and who already paid and how many people and all this contribution, and even the AI struggled to do this, I was like, fuck. Can I really do this? And that also added to the whole thing of like, is it really worth my time? Because like there was like a handful of different overlapping factors within this where like this person owes somebody here, but somebody contributed to this pool as opposed to this pool. But then there's a mass majority of this pool that the two people that were like organizing the whole thing, only one of them contributed to the mass pool. So there's like a bit of like everything overlapped in a way that made it more complicated than just like, oh, everybody gave $300. I gave 150, you gave 150, each of us get 150. Wow. And this overcomplication of factors and overlapping that made me think that if somebody like myself that hasn't touched maths in 10, 15 years, if I could even actually do it, you know, is this something that I'm even capable? It would definitely take a handful of concentration that none of us are used to at any, because, you know, AI. Also, it was just like, I came into this thing with a challenge in my mind, and then immediately I started hitting myself with so many different excuses as to why I shouldn't. And it even became bullying. I was starting to bully myself. Like, I was sitting there going, you idiot. You're sitting here with a big red marker trying to do this on a little piece of paper. Who are you? What, you fucking nerd? And within all of those different excuses that kept like coming my way, for some reason, something slipped through and it was just like, but you can do this. You can figure this out. And it was that mentality that kind of clicked in me that kind of forced me to concentrate. Like I was really just like sitting there and just like glazing over because of the apathy towards the entire process and the whole situation at a certain point, that it was just like something needed to click for me to actually commit to concentrating on this thing. And with that thought of like, I can do this, it made it so that like giving up was a bit of betraying myself as to like betraying my like the 5-minute prior self that was saying like, challenge yourself to do this. I was betraying that person. And it was that thought of that betrayal of myself that was essentially like the breaking point, or like for my Bridgerton watchers out there, like the pinnacle. And it was a moment that would like determine how I would feel about myself the rest of the day. Like a small loss or a small part where you just don't commit to yourself, it will exponentiate. It will continue as the day goes on. You'll just continue to just let yourself down and not think about these things and just be like, whatever, who cares? What, it's not that big of a deal. I don't need to do this. I challenge myself, sure, but like, what does it actually mean? So with those two conflicting sides, like, all right, so what do? Do I commit into it and like really like not betray myself and go for it? Or do I recognize the fact that like, dude, this doesn't really matter. It's not that deep. It's really not. She already figured it out. Just go back to work. So again, which one would I choose? Would I choose comfort with a dash of betrayal? Or would I choose commitment with a dash of discomfort? Both had their problems, but there was only one that proved to be helpful for my confidence. And in the end, it really wasn't like a huge win either. Spoiler alert, I did do the math problem. It's kind of like when you haven't ridden a skateboard in a while and you go out and you make sure you can like land a decent ollie. You can just do a decent ollie. Like I'm not doing kick flips. I'm not doing pop shove-its even. Nothing ungodly impressive, but still something that like deep down shows that, you got it. So I can leave the math problem in the description if you'd like, if you want to take a whack at it. I mean, it's not crazy hard or anything, but it will make you think for a second. So go, think, solve a problem. Commit yourself to solving a problem. I wrapped up my entire diary entry with this little piece that says, at the next point of considering commitment to yourself at the expense of some little short-term comfort, choose to solve the math problem at least once. So all in all, this math problem kind of led to me. I made a video about it. Look at that. But it was like, this is also kind of the same thing. This is another math problem. This is another piece where, the comfort of not doing a video is like a slight betrayal to myself of like, okay, I wrote this whole thing down. I was really excited. Like this small win really showed the importance of committing to yourself, really showed the importance of just not betraying the challenges you give to yourself. And also we're watching Naruto right now. So, Guy Sensei and Rock Lee, is like, that's their entire character arc. Their entire character being is just doing what you commit to doing, just because in the end you'll still learn something even if you lose. Like there's still something that you're gaining, some sort of training, some sort of practice that you're getting out of this. So ultimately, in the last, I don't know how many months, I've sat in front of the camera 4 or 5 times. It really hasn't been much, and I claim to be really good at this, at least for myself. Like this is another one of the things where like, this is another ollie. This is just an ollie. This is just a math problem. This is just something that I need to get back into it before I go trying to, do the kickflip, do calculus. So I don't know. It was just weird how a simple challenge of a math problem gives you a little bit of a boost in confidence. I got the math right though, and I even was able to do it simpler than what the AI probably was able to do. And I could just factor because I could see it in my mind. Holy shit, I've been recording for 20 minutes. All right, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.